What's going on, people? Welcome back to Will Talks Football, because look, we got a brand new show, Football Carnage, here on the new channel, and I opened it up as if I was going to be on my other channel. But as you guys know, Will Talk Sports here, but we are on my new football channel, Football Carnage. Now, that intro kind of just messed me up because it's kind of confusing when they're trying to jump back and forth, but this is the first video, first live stream, first anything that we're doing here on Football Carnage. We're going to be talking about soccer all on this channel. And I know, guys, I'm American. Sometimes I may say soccer. Sometimes I might say football. It's still a bit confusing for me to remember, but that's not what's important because we got a lot of shit to get into. We're talking about Mbappé news, Rafael Leão to PSG, a bunch of things, a bunch of rumors are going on, man. And I think we're going to start it off like this with the whole Mbappé saga. Now, everybody knows Mbappé will be joining Real Madrid, right? Let's just be honest here. Now, it's not confirmed. And over this past weekend, we had a lot of news reports, a lot of outlets coming out saying that the deal is done. Now, we've been hearing this for like the last 8 years about Mbappé joining Real Madrid, and we just decided, or I've decided, that I'm not going to believe any reports until I see a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. And we have not gotten that yet. And actually, today, Fab did give an update, basically saying that Real Madrid are working hard on the deal, but it's not done. Do not believe these reports, basically, but an announcement is expected soon. Now, ESPN, ESPN FC, Bleacher Report, BR Football were all posting edits like it's been announced, but we all know until you see the here we go from Fabrizio, we're not believing it. Now, I think this deal will happen, but again, I thought it happened last summer, and it ended up not going through. So I don't really know what to believe here. Now, as I said, I'm waiting for Fabrizio. Look, I watch this guy's tweets really closely. I have his notifications on, and I can't really remember him getting anything wrong. So once he says that here we go, that's when you'll see me act real crazy. But we already know it's going to happen. I just don't know what Mbappé is waiting for. I think maybe this doesn't get announced until after the season, just because there's just no way you could really expect Mbappé to stay in France and announce that he's leaving to join Real Madrid in the middle of the season with those PSG Ultras. Those guys are insane. You guys saw how they showed up at Neymar's house. They were ready to run this guy out of town. So I don't necessarily believe that he will announce it as soon as people may think. Now, I could be wrong. This guy could come out and announce it any hour, maybe tomorrow, maybe this week. Who knows? But I just don't think it'd be in his best interest to do that. Like, I would wait until the season's over, and then I would say I'm going to Real Madrid. I don't want to have to deal with the Ultras booing me, heckling me, showing up outside my house, smashing up my car, trying to sneak into training to beat me up. I don't want to deal with that kind of pressure right now if I'm Mbappé, but this deal will happen. I think he realizes that it's either now or never to come to Real Madrid. I'm telling you guys that right now. There's just no way that if he does not end up joining in the summer, he will come. He knows that if you want to join, you're already 25 years old. You're going to be 26 next year. They're not going to keep waiting for you. There's a bunch of other strikers that would kill their families to come play for Real Madrid. So we got to be honest here, Mbappé. What do you want to do? I mean, do you want to stay at PSG in a farmers league? A place that nobody respects? I mean, what? It's called League One Uber Eats. Let's be honest. We're not really rating it over there. Now, we know that what you do is fantastic. We know that Mbappé is a big game player. To me, he is the best attacker in the world. I think he's better than Haaland. He's better than Harry Kane. To me, he is okay, maybe not Harry Kane, but he's also way younger. But Mbappé is the guy to me. Like, point is, if I had to pick one young attacker to build my team around, I'm taking this guy. I mean, you see him step up in all these big games. Hat trick in the World Cup final. World Cup winner at 18 years old. Played a big part in that France squad winning. This guy is different. Mbappé is the guy. And PSG, I kind of feel bad for them. I mean, this is a generational talent, and you're going to lose him for free. Mbappé is probably one of the most valuable football players in the world right now. Like, if he had a few years left on his contract, if Real Madrid wanted to get him, you have to spend close to $300 million to sign this guy. That's how good he is. He was meant to be breaking transfer records when it's time for him to leave PSG. But it looks like he will leave on a free. Now, it's going to be crazy next season. And I know people are talking about, well, if Mbappé comes, where's Vinny going to go? Yeah, Vinny's going to stay on the left. Rodrigo's going to stay on the right. And Mbappe's going to be down the middle. I know he does not necessarily prefer to play centrally. He likes to come off the left. But he can't think in his head that if he signs for Real Madrid, that Vinny's going to get dropped and he's just going to replace him. No, that doesn't make any sense because we're still going to have the same problem of who's going to play in the middle for us. So I think Mbappe knows if you want to join Real Madrid, two things. You're not going to get that number 7 shirt off of Vinny. Okay? You're going to have to play down the middle. And you're going to have to either wear number 9 or you could wait for Luka Modric to leave and then get that number 10. Because who knows what Modric is going to do past this season. But you're not getting 7 and you're not going to predominantly be playing off the left. But there will be some games that Mbappe can operate from that left-hand side. Because don't forget, people, we have Endrick coming in the summer. Endrick's going to be a nice addition to this Real Madrid team. And he's going to start some games as well. So maybe you might want to rest Vinny or Mbappe, start either one of them on that left-hand side. But it's going to be dangerous next season. Because that attack of Rodrigo, Vinny, and Mbappe with the midfield of Jude, Camavinga, Tchouameni, Valverde, Arda Güler. Oh my goodness me. What stops that team from winning the quadruple? Forget the treble. What stops Real Madrid from winning the quadruple if Mbappe joins? It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a madness. I'm trying to tell you people. They don't want to see it happen because they know what's going to happen. This is why you see all these reports about, oh, well, Vinny may be sold if Mbappe comes. No, he's not. Real Madrid don't sell. If we don't want to sell you, you're staying. Why the hell would we sell Vinny to fit Mbappe in? Mbappe can play across the front 3 and bag 40 goals this season at any one of those positions. You think our number 7, Vinny, we're going to be selling him to bring in Mbappe? No. This is Real Madrid. We don't sell players that we don't need to. We get rid of you when we want to. He just got the 7. He's our, I think, you can honestly say, outside of Jude, Vinny's our best attacking player. He's not going anywhere. That duo up front with him and Mbappe is going to be dangerous. I'm telling you guys, there is nothing stopping Real Madrid from winning the quadruple if Mbappe joins the club. And I think he will. There's just no way that he stays at PSG because if he wanted to remain in France, he would have did that already. There's no point in him waiting to sign a new deal with PSG. We already know that they're going to be able to offer you the most money and you're going to have control of the club if you re-sign there. We all know that at Real Madrid, you're not going to get as much money. You're not going to have any kind of control over what happens. You're not going to be able to dictate who we sign, who we bring in. So I don't really understand why people think he actually wants to stay in France. He would have done that already. Make that make sense. That's like if you're dating a girl and she says, no, I'm committed to you and I want to be with you. But yet she tells you that she wants to talk to other men on the side. Does that make sense? Because that's what Mbappe's doing. PSG fans think he could possibly stay and that he's committed to them, but he wants to talk to other teams. And I know that I'm being real confident about my squad getting him, but don't make no mistake about it. Other teams have probably reached out to his agent as well to figure out or to see what they can possibly do to bring Mbappe to the club. Because you can't consider yourself a big team or an ambitious club if a player like this hits the market for free and you're not trying to do whatever you can to sign him. Because this is a generational talent. A player of Mbappe's level does not usually end up leaving for free. So, look, I think he will come to Real Madrid. Now, again, we see all the reports that's saying that it's done. I'm going to choose to believe Fabrizio. He's saying nothing's agreed yet. That's what I'm going with, people. So we will see, but it's definitely going to happen. There's just no way that he passes up on this opportunity. I think he also realizes that if he wants to win a Champions League, a Ballon d'Or, all these other individual awards. I mean, look, he's going to be in the running for all these individual trophies anyways. But if he really wants to put himself in the front runner conversation, he has to realize that he may have to leave PSG. Now, we all know that Messi won the Ballon d'Or in 2024 for something that he did in 2022, which is nonsense because the guy's been playing in America for a year. But aside from them sucking off Messi, usually you have to be playing for a big club to win like a Ballon d'Or. And you also have to do something in the Champions League. And we know that Messi won it because of the World Cup in 2022. He still should have won it in 2024, though. But that's a whole nother conversation. Point is, Mbappe, look at what Jude's doing. He's at Real Madrid. He's cooking for us right now. He's the front runner to win the Ballon d'Or next season. And he didn't even win the Champions League or La Liga yet. So imagine if you put Mbappe at Real Madrid with the numbers that he would put up. he'd win about 3 Ballon d'Ors in a row. So we'll see. But he's definitely going to be leaving. I don't think that he will stay at PSG. And the only club that makes sense to me is Real Madrid. Now, I know people were linking him to Liverpool, linking him to all the other clubs. Look, Klopp is leaving. That's not happening anymore. All those rumors are dead. He will be a Real Madrid player. He will be a Madrista come next season. Don't worry about it. And it's going to be real scary, but not for us. I'm telling you, the first trouble in history for Real Madrid is loading next season. And then after that, we're talking about quadruple. And then after that, I might even be looking at an invincible season. I know I'm getting kind of carried away, but look, guys, real scary times ahead. Barca fans, look away. You could only dream of doing great business like what we do. I hate to break that to you, but look, man, let's move forward. Now, with Mbappé leaving PSG, they're going to need to replace him. Now, there's no player right now that they can possibly buy that will go in and just replace Mbappe's production. Maybe they look at it like we could go to Liverpool and possibly sign Mo Salah. I think maybe he can go to PSG and kind of produce the same output as Mbappe, but the odds of that happening are very slim. So there's been a few names that have been linked, but the name that keeps popping up the most is Rafael Leão. Now, he's a good player. This guy plays on the left. He could play centrally, and he's a player for AC Milan. I think he's Portuguese as well. Yes, he is. He's a baller. Now, his market value is 90 million, and I think you're going to have to pay a lot more than that to sign him, especially if you're PSG. Clubs are going to know that you're desperate. Clubs are going to know that you need to replace Mbappe, and they're going to overcharge you. And you're an oil club as well, so we know that you have the P's. So I think if his transfer market value is 90 million euros, you're probably going to have to pay 140 to sign him, if I'm being honest. Now, I don't know how long his contract is at AC Milan. That can also play a factor as well. So if his deal runs out soon, then, okay, you will be able to get him for cheaper. But I'm thinking that he has years left on his deal. So I'm thinking that you're going to have to pay over 100 million. I'll just say that. It'll be over 100 M's to sign this guy. He's a good player, though. I don't know if he'll be able to go in there and just replace Mbappe and that production that he's able to do. But Leão, he's solid, 24 years old. I don't think he's going to ever be world class, but I think he's the level below that. Now, maybe if he goes to PSG, that league is a bit easier than what it is in Italy. So maybe he will be able to put up numbers, but I think he fits a nice profile. I think a lot of teams would want to sign him. He's tall, he's physical, he's fast, he can dribble a little bit, he has good vision, and he can finish as well. I think that his scoring is a bit overrated, the way that people kind of talk about him, because he's not a goal-scoring machine. I think he only has about, 3 or 4 goals in Serie A this season, but I think he also does have 8 assists. So for me, I think he would be a good signing. It will be a bit pricey, and I don't know if I'd be comfortable spending so much money on him, but if PSG can get a good price for him, then yeah, I think you do this deal. Now, for them to replace Mbappe, I think it's going to take more than Leão. You're going to have to do other transfers as well. I think PSG need about 3 players to be bringing in to replace Mbappe and to also keep their fans happy, because losing one of the most valuable players in the world for nothing has to be crazy. Like, if I'm PSG, I'd be pissed off right now that Mbappe could possibly be leaving for free. This is a guy that you should be getting at least 300 million for, right? I mean, the way that the football market is inflated, he's the best attacker in the world. I mean, you see what this guy does. He's a big game player. Mbappe is him. I don't care what nobody says. He's better than Haaland. He's better than all these guys. Mbappe is the guy, okay? Haaland is somebody that just, he needs good service, and he's an in-the-box merchant. I'm just going to call it what it is. Mbappe could pick up the ball at the halfway line, carry it past a few guys, dribble around, and score. Haaland's not doing that. You have to put the right pass into him. And he gets great service playing at Dortmund. He was getting good service. And he's also getting good service playing at Man City as well. So, look, for me, Mbappe is the guy. PSG are going to have a hard time to replace him, but they have the money to do so. Even though they're not going to get no bread for him, they do have the funds to go out there and sign promising players. And I don't really know what the plan for PSG is this summer if Mbappe does leave. I think they're going to have to kind of call it a rebuild, because you think about it. In the last 2 years, they've lost Messi, Neymar, now possibly Mbappe. I mean, those are 3 of the biggest name players in the world, arguably. So they weren't even able to win a Champions League with those guys. So I don't really see how a Champions League happens for them in the near future. But sometimes you can say even though you lose your star players, that could be a blessing in disguise because now you can maybe have a more balanced team, right? And, maybe they're able to spread the goals around instead of your main focus just being on one guy, which is Mbappe. So we'll see. But PSG, they'll still have a good squad and they will still be relevant because they will be spending money to make sure that they're in and around the conversation for one of the best teams in the world. But yeah, I think they should just go with like a youth kind of movement, look for players with a lot of potential that they can develop and hopefully make world class. And then they could possibly still win a Champions League. I don't know. Point is, Rafael Leão is a very good player, and I think it's going to be a very hard deal to get done. I don't think AC Milan would want to sell him. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that he also came out, and I swear I've seen reports from him saying that he'd like to stay. So it's not going to be an easy deal to get done, but I think PSG will have the funds to make this deal happen if they really do want him. But I don't know what you guys think. I rate him. I think he's a good player. I think a lot of clubs will be in for him, and that will only just drive the price up. But we'll see. PSG need to be getting on their transfer business for the summer now. They need to be trying to work out deals now. I try to even sign him before Mbappe announces his decision because once that Mbappe to Real Madrid, here we go tweet comes out, the price that everybody's going to charge you is going to skyrocket. So try to get the deal done now when there's still some uncertainty on whether he's going to stay or not. And then guess what? If Mbappe does decide to stay, he will be called an idiot by me because you should be going to Real Madrid. But then if you have Mbappe and Rafael Leão, is that a bad thing? No. So this is a player that I think PSG should be looking at anyways, personally. But yeah, get in the comment section though. Let me know what you guys think about that. Where are we going to next? Yeah, let's talk about Victor. Oh no, Leroy Sané. That's where we're going next. I almost messed that up, boy. Now, whoa, do I not have? Oh, I don't have this up. Okay, I'll upload that next. But yo, let's talk about Leroy Sané. Now, he's being linked with the deal, or what am I trying to say? Let's restart that. Leroy Sané, he has been linked with a move, or no, I'm bugging people. What am I trying to say? I'm drawing a brain fart right now. Okay, I got it. Leroy Sané is being rumored to be close. I'm messing this up, guys. And the crazy thing is, when you're live, you just gotta just eat it. You just gotta go with it. It is what it is. Leroy Sané is close to signing a new deal at Bayern Munich. Now, this has been a transfer story that's been going on for the last few months because his deal runs out in 2025. So Bayern are panicking because Sané right now is currently having one of the best seasons of his career, and he's having one of his best seasons since joining Bayern. And this is a guy that they want to keep. No duh. I mean, how do you even replace a player like Sané? To me, he's a baller. Now, I will say, since he's left Man City to join Bayern, he has not reached the levels that I thought he would, right? Like, when I looked at Leroy Sané at Man City, I thought he was going to be the next best winger. Now, he's really good, and I think he'd go into most teams in Europe. But I'd have to say he's not what I thought he would be. Now, as I said, he's still a very good player, and I think a lot of clubs around Europe were definitely going to be interested to see what happens this summer with him because with his contract running out in a year and a half, that means over the summer, with only 12 months left on his current deal, you could get him for a cut price because if his transfer market value is 80 million, Bayern are not a selling club. They're probably going to want 90 to 100 million to sign him or to sell him. So, with Liverpool being linked, Chelsea, Barcelona, I think out of all the options, it makes the most sense that they have Bayern Munich. They are the best club out of any team that he's linked to. I mean, if you look at Chelsea, they're shit. I mean, Pochettino could be sacked any day now. They're probably not going to be in Europe next season. What's really attractive about going there? Like, if you're at Bayern Munich, if you're a main player at Bayern, why would you leave to go to Chelsea right now? And I guess maybe you could say Chelsea can offer him more money, but I don't know about this one. I don't think he ends up going to Chelsea. To me, that's just a name that's being thrown in there, possibly by his agent, to maybe get Bayern to offer him a new deal with better terms very quickly. Now, he's also being linked with the move to Liverpool. Now, this would be a transfer that I could possibly believe if Jurgen Klopp was not going to be leaving. But now that Klopp is out of there at the end of this season, I think all these Liverpool transfer targets that you see, don't believe any of them, especially if they're high-name or high-profile players, because why would Leroy Sané go to Liverpool right now, especially when we don't know who's going to be their manager next season? I don't know what direction they're going to be going in. And I think Leroy Sané would be a good signing for them. And he fits the mold of what they like to do system-wise, because he's fast, and he good with the ball at his feet, and he'll be able to benefit from that high press. Liverpool play 100 miles per hour. Sané would benefit from that. But we don't even know if that's going to be their system next season, because we don't know who the next manager is going to be. Now, I know some people are saying Xabi Alonso. I don't think so. I think Xabi's going to Bayern Munich. I think Liverpool are going to probably end up with a De Zerbi, a Graham Potter. I don't know. Something like that. I don't think they're going to get any huge name manager. Like FSG, they don't want to be spending too much money anyway. So I don't really see them going in and getting one of the high-profile guys. But we'll see what happens. I just don't think, with the uncertainty of what's going to be the future of that club, they're attractive right now. And to me, Liverpool's success has always been because of Klopp. Like, they've been irrelevant for a while. Before Klopp came in, they were finishing 6th, 5th, 7th, 4th. They weren't winning no Prems. Yeah, they won a few Champion Leagues along the way. But in terms of relevancy, Liverpool were kind of finished, people. And Klopp brought them back. And he had to do that on a shoestring budget, because I guess you could say that he probably bought 2 world-class players. That, as you could say, is Van Dijk and Alisson. And Van Dijk, I think he made him world-class, because at Southampton, Van Dijk wasn't no world-class player. Let's just be honest here. I think Mo Salah was not world-class at Roma. Klopp made him that. Same thing with Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, Fabinho. All these guys were not world-class when they were first bought. But Klopp worked miracles, and I think that's bailed Liverpool out. And I think even during their golden generation, 1 Prem in 30 years, 1 Champions League. So I think that makes them have 6 now. So I think they do have the most Champions Leagues out of any club in England. But to me, now that Klopp's leaving, uncertainty, if I'm a player, I'm not even thinking about Liverpool until I know who the next manager is going to be and he talks to me himself, because you don't want to be signing for a club and then all of a sudden the new manager, let's say like the manager that you came in for leaves, and the new manager that comes in doesn't rate you. And now you got to go look for a new club because the guy's not playing you or you don't fit his system. And I think Liverpool, yeah, it's about to be peak for you guys, man. I'm not going to even lie. Now, I did also want to talk about Victor Osimhen, but like a dummy, I forgot to upload it. Or I thought that I did, actually, but it didn't add it. So I'm going to add the Victor Osimhen overlay right now to talk about him, because he is being linked with the move to Arsenal and Chelsea. So just real quick, people, bear with me. Hold on, let me find this. I can't believe that I didn't upload. Yeah, that's crazy. I completely missed that. All right, we have it right here. Should be adding in there soon. All right, we got it, guys. Let's talk about Victor Osimhen, because he's being linked with a move to Arsenal and Chelsea. Now, the report's saying that Arsenal are ready to battle Chelsea for the signature of Victor Osimhen. Now, I don't think Arsenal get this guy. I could see why they'd be in for him, because Arsenal don't have any strikers. Their striking options are shit. Gabriel Jesus is not a striker. He's more so a winger. You remember when he was at Man City and Aguero left and they didn't have a striker? Jesus was their only striker left and they still didn't play him up front. They switched their whole formation to run a false 9 with Gundo and Phil Foden up top. Yeah, we didn't forget about that, okay? I don't understand how Arteta thought that he was the man to bring in when you need goal scoring. Eddie Nketiah is shit. This guy should be at Crystal Palace or in the Championship. That's his level. So Arsenal, they very much need a striker. Now, I don't know if it will be Osimhen, because I think he will cost too much. I don't think Arsenal are going to want to pay that kind of money. But I know Chelsea will pay that bread for sure. That's one thing that I'm certain about, is that Chelsea will not mind finding a way to get this deal done. I think Arsenal, they're going to drag it. They're going to want to maybe do all these payment plans, and they might make it hard. You know, Arsenal, they like to drag out negotiations. I think Chelsea will go in there, and they will get it done quickly. I think Arsenal will get Ivan Toney. But before I even talk about that, where it concerns Victor Osimhen, I think Arsenal are definitely the more attractive club. I think if I'm him, that's where I'd want to go. But I just don't know if they will spend that bread. Now, we all know that Chelsea are in shambles right now. They're shit. But one thing about that club is they will spend their way out of problems. And I think they have a billion-pound squad over there. They're struggling at the moment. And to me, a large part of that is because they can't finish their chances. Because I don't understand how you spend £1 billion on your squad and your striker is Nicholas Jackson. Make that make sense. Chelsea are going to be desperate. I can definitely see them, because they do have to balance their books with FFP, but I see them selling a lot of players this summer, a lot of deadwood, and I think that they will find a way to get Victor Osimhen over the line. Now, as I said, Arsenal are much more attractive. They're kind of competing for the league. I don't think that they will win it, but they're in the conversation. They're in Champions League, and their future looks brighter than whatever the hell's going on at Chelsea. So if I'm Osimhen, Arsenal is where I'd prefer to go. You know, you get to play with Saga, Martinelli, Trossard, Declan Rice in midfield, Martin Odegaard, and I know Arsenal, they do need other things. Like, to me, a striker is not the missing piece. I think it's a huge piece that Arsenal need to actually start contending for all these big trophies. But I also believe Arsenal need a new left back. Arsenal need a new right back. I think Arsenal also need another center mid. And then once they cover all those 4 positions and bring in decent players, I think if you were to add a Victor Osimhen to this Arsenal squad, yeah, I believe that they'll be able to do some things. But I think if you add Osimhen at Arsenal right now, I think they're still going to be around the same place that they are now, second or third. So to me, I think spending a lot of money on a guy that you don't even know is going to come into the Prem and bag is a bit risky, because if his transfer market value is 110 million, and if Chelsea are in for him, and if Arsenal are going to also enter the race for him, and then you don't know what other clubs in the Prem or what other clubs around Europe might also enter the race for him, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. Like, this is a deal that might have to cost you 150 million to get Victor Osimhen. Can you see Arsenal doing that? No. That's why I think they will go get Ivan Toney. And if I'm being honest, I'd rather have Ivan Toney than have this guy, because Ivan Toney is Prem proven. We know he can bag goals here. So if you sign him, if you're Arsenal right away, you know that this is a guy that's going to be able to score you at least 20 goals a season. If he's able to do it at Brentford, why can't he do it at Arsenal? It'd make no sense. He'd get more service and he'd be playing with better players. I think Osimhen, he comes to the Prem, he's a good player. He's physical, he's very fast, and you've seen him be clinical in Serie A, but the Prem is a different beast. So that's going to be a very big gamble. And I know people, they think because a player has a fancy name, because he costs a lot of money, that just must mean he's going to be the next big thing. But don't always think that way, people. I'm telling you, there's been a lot of players that's come to the Prem and have flopped. To me, Ivan Toney would be the guy to sign if I'm Arsenal. I don't think he costs as much because he plays for Brentford. So it's not like they're a Champions League club. It's not like Napoli where they're actually trying to win the league. They're actually trying to go deep in Champions League. And they're not going to want to lose Victor Osimhen because he's a big player in that squad. Ivan Toney, yeah, he's a big player for Brentford, and he's important to them. But Brentford know that they're a selling club. Brentford know that if they have a very good player, the odds are other clubs are going to want to come in and buy him. I don't think Napoli actually realized that, because Napoli, they're a huge club. So negotiating with them is going to be hard. I think Ivan Toney, you're probably going to have to pay 70 to 80 million to sign him. Osimhen, with all the other clubs that might be in for him, you're going to have to be spending about 120, maybe 140 million. So one guy going to cost less, and you know he will bag in the Prem. Another guy is going to cost more, and you're not too sure if he'll be able to bag in the Prem. Who knows? But we will see. Let me know, though. Do you think Osimhen should go to Chelsea or Arsenal? If I'm him, I would pick Arsenal. But I just think Chelsea will faster spend that kind of bread. That's just me, though. Now, this threw me all off because this shit right here, bro. Lord. Now, let's talk about Bruno Fernandes. Al Hilal, they've been linked with the move to Bruno. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now. This guy is shit. I'm sorry. If you're a Man United fan and you rate Bruno, I actually think you don't know ball. And I'm an American saying that. So if I'm telling you that you don't know ball, there's a problem here, right? Because everybody says I don't know ball because I'm American. So this guy is awful. Bruno Fernandes is not the guy. I don't know what you guys see in him. I know that the GA, it makes you guys lose your mind. But he is terrible. Do not look at the stat sheet. Watch the game with your eyes. He's the reason why United struggles so much. He can't hold the ball, and arguably the most important part of the field, because you know that games are usually won in the midfield. But you have this guy spamming crosses in, making all these dumb passes, losing the ball. He can't dribble. He can't link play. All that he's good for is penalties and the odd screamer every now and then. But he's not the guy. I'm trying to tell you something right now. If I'm Manchester United, if Al Hilal comes in with even a 40 million offer, I'm doing it. Okay, now maybe not that low. That's a bit max, right? Because I do think they'll drop a bag for him. I mean, all these Saudi clubs, they just don't seem to mind. Like, they will spend the money. So if I'm Man United, you give me 80 million for Bruno, great business. The guy is 29 anyways. And at Manchester United, they need a whole rebuild. This whole team needs oh my goodness. They are in terrible state right now. I think with the new ownership group, right? Ineos, I know they hired the guy from Man City. What's his name? Omar, whatever. But he knows what to do. He's been at Man City, right? He's been a part of a team, or he's been a part of a culture that has dominated England, right? He's going to know what kind of players to bring in. He's going to know what kind of manager to look for, because I think Ten Hag needs to go. I think Bruno Fernandes needs to go. I think most of this squad that they currently have needs to go. There's only about 5 or 8 players that I would keep if I'm this new Man United regime. But yeah, Fernandes is awful. He's super overrated. It's just goals and assists. That's all that anybody can talk about. Oh, Bruno got assists. Oh, Bruno scored. But did you watch the game? Like, it's not good. But, yo, it's whatever, man. Look, I definitely think United should be looking to sell him. 80, 90 million. I think that's what Al Hilal would actually pay for him. And guess what? He'd probably cook in Saudi, because he's going to be playing against guys that work at the grocery store or that herd sheep. I don't know, camel riders. Bruno would cook there, and he'd feel at home. I mean, there's a bunch of guys there that speak Portuguese. And if we're being honest, yo, Al Hilal actually have a good squad. And if they're fully fit, they might come like 5th or 6th in the Prem. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, he has a bunch of guys there that speak his language, right? Like Neymar speaks Portuguese. Ruben Neves, Malcolm, Lodi, right? Got those 4 guys right there. They also have, is it Milinkovic-Savic? Yo, he used to be at Lazio. I remember at one point in time, everybody was looking at him within a £100 million move or euro move away from Lazio, and he ended up just staying there until he went to Saudi. I mean, it's a bit odd. But Mitrovic as well from Fulham, the striker, baller. Koulibaly, I mean, yeah, kind of washed. We saw him at Chelsea. He's there as well. And then Bono, the goalkeeper that they bought from Sevilla. So Al Hilal have a pretty decent team. You know, go ahead, Bruno, go to Saudi. You can bag all the GA and stat pad as much as you want there. But in the Prem, you're not of that level. People comparing this guy to Kevin De Bruyne is crazy to me. He's awful. How do you have a midfielder that can't hold the ball, that can't link play? Like, he's the reason why all these Man United fans tried to scapegoat Casemiro and call him shit. Because United would play Cas at the 6, and then you have a midfield of Bruno and Scott McTominay, right? He's playing with 2 shit guys, and both of them are just running forward. Nobody is staying back there with him. And then you have Bruno losing the ball every time he touches it, and now the counter's on. So it's one man in midfield trying to defend a whole counterattack. He literally puts Man United in bad situations all the time. Bruno Fernandes is terrible. This is facts. I don't know what to tell you guys. I would sell him immediately. How is he Man United's captain? This is the biggest club in England, you know. Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. And look at all the players that they have on a pedestal. Marcus Rashford, Casemiro. No, sorry. Well, Casemiro's the baller. My fault. Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Scott McTominay, Megan Rapinoe, Anthony. Look at all these guys. Bro, if I'm being honest, I said earlier, I'd only keep 5 or 8 players. I will name them for you right now who I'd keep. I would keep Casemiro, Varane. I'd bring back Mason Greenwood. I'd bring back Jadon Sancho. I'd keep Amad Diallo. I'd keep Dalot. I'm sure I'm missing somebody else. Oh, Kobe Mainoo, for sure. He's a baller. You got to keep him as well. That's about 7. Lissandro, but I mean, all his injuries, problems that have been popping up, maybe you get rid of him. This is the 8 right now. I'm pretty sure there's somebody else that I would keep as well. But yeah, these are the 8 guys that I would keep. I would sell everybody else, and I would bring in a bunch of new players. And I would also sack Ten Hag. He's awful as well. Man United have looked shit since he's been there. I can't think of a stretch where they've looked good. I get it. He won the Carabao Cup. Congratulations. Let's give him a round of applause. Send him back to Holland. He is awful. Ten Hag is, I'd say, out of all the Man United managers since Sir Alex Ferguson has left, he's been back the most, and he's done the least. Like, honestly, he is awful. And most of his signings have been flops. Antony, Malacia, Onana, Mason Mount. Holgen, I wouldn't say is a flop, but he's not good. He misses a bunch of chances. He's not clinical. Yeah. Man United are in trouble right now. And this new regime, they're gonna have to make a statement this summer. They're gonna have to bring in a lot of new players. They're gonna have to spend money. Man United, they generate, of all the clubs in the world, United are up there in terms of revenue. They got to be top 4, top 3 clubs in the world of how much money they make every single season. We're talking about 7, I'd say anywhere from 6 to 800 million Man United probably generate per season. Where's all that money going to? Why do we hear every summer that they don't have any funds? I don't believe that. So we'll have to see. But yeah, they got a big job on their hands, this new ownership group, and that new guy, their CEO, I think, right? Omar, is it Barebo? Who knows? But let me know. Would you sell Bruno Fernandes? I definitely would. I wouldn't even want him. I wouldn't take him at Real Madrid. I wouldn't want him at Arsenal. I wouldn't want him at any other club. Go right to Saudi. That's your level. You can stat pad and get all the GA you want. Nobody cares. And you'll be there with your Portuguese-speaking brothers, and you'll have a good time. Don't worry. They'll love you there, Bruno. But, yeah, you're awful. You are shit. Now, let's move on. Now, I know I definitely touched on Liverpool a little earlier, but we got to come back to them. So, with the uncertainty of Klopp, we don't know what the hell is going to happen next season, right? We don't know who the manager for Liverpool is going to be. And I think with Klopp announcing his departure, I believe a lot of other players will be looking to leave as well. I think some of the names that we've seen there for a very long time, the 4 or 5 years, they're going to look to bounce. I think you might see Virgil van Dijk leave. Maybe guys like Trent might want to leave. We know that his contract's running down. When is he going to sign a new extension? Andy Robertson, Allison. You might see some of the big name players that you guys love possibly leaving over the summer, because we don't know what direction FSG will go in when Klopp officially leaves at the end of the season. Now, a big player who's already been linked to a move away from that club, even before Klopp announced the decision, is Mo Salah, their best player, their number 1 guy, the poster player for Liverpool. He's been linked to Saudi for about, I'd say, since last summer. And I think next year he leaves. Well, not next year. I think this upcoming summer he leaves for sure. Why not sell him? If you're Liverpool, why would you keep Mo Salah? It make no sense. The guy is in his 30s. He's not going to get any better than what he was a few seasons ago. He's won everything that he can, and he's kind of starting to slow down a little bit anyways. I think it makes sense to cash in on Mo Salah. You could probably get 150 million for him from Saudi because he's Muslim as well. And he's going to probably go over there. And we know in Saudi, they have a bunch of big name players right now. But because Salah is Muslim, he will be one of the stars over there. So I do think Liverpool will get a big fee for him, like 140, 150 million for him. And you can use that money to rebuild your squad. And people are going to be mad and say, yo, you're an idiot. You don't know ball. But guess what? You guys sold Coutinho, right? And ever since then, you guys have been on a mad run. You don't always have to keep your best player to succeed. Sometimes it makes sense to let these guys go. And I think if Liverpool are smart with the money that they get for Mo Salah, they'll be all right. But I think they're going to struggle, man. I think once Klopp leaves, it's over. For a little bit, they're going to go back to finishing 7th and 6th, in my opinion. And just by this report right here, I mean, they're saying that Liverpool are looking at Ansu Fati and Raphinha as Mo Salah replacements. Like, are we having a laugh right now? Are you guys actually joking? Ansu Fati, the failed wonder kid? I remember when he first got his move to Brighton last summer on loan. And everybody was saying, oh, this is good for him because he's going to be able to play his game with no pressure, blah, blah, blah. Complete nonsense. Ansu Fati went from being Barcelona's next Messi and wearing the number 10 to being at Brighton. He's not good, and he cannot stay fit anymore. He's always injured. Now, I have not watched that many Brighton games this season, and I can tell you something right now. I know for a fact that Ansu Fati has been doing nothing since he's joined them on loan. And that's why Barcelona will probably try to sell him over the summer, because he's not good anymore. They've already moved on. This is why when people see all these wonder kids and they get hyped up and call, oh, this is the next best player in the world. That's why you see the guy at Barca right now, Lamine Yamal. He looks good, but I don't think he's a sure thing, because Ansu Fati was a sure thing. Remember? They gave him the number 10 after Messi left. If that does not show you how highly they rated him, then I don't know what else will. And a year and a half, 2 years later, he's at Brighton. Are you kidding me? And this is a guy who's in the running as a Mo Salah replacement? This is why I said Liverpool are cooked. Their ownership is terrible. Klopp literally worked miracles with them. And then you got his Barcelona teammate, Raphinha. Now, I'm not going to lie. When he was at Leeds, Raphinha was a baller. And maybe if I'm Liverpool, you think, well, if we bring him back to the Prem and a more attacking system, and if we make him one of the main guys, then maybe Raphinha could reach the same levels that he used to. But he's not that good either. Barca fans don't want him there. They want him dropped. Raphinha, I wouldn't say he's flopped, but he hasn't looked as good as we all thought that he would. And I know that Chelsea, they got to be doing like a whoo. Because remember, they bid for him, and I believe it got accepted. But Raphinha, he just wanted Barca. I mean, and look, understandably so. I mean, if it's Barca or Chelsea, I'm not going to blame any Brazilian player for picking Barca. But it's just not worked out for him there. He does not look as good as what people thought. And I overrated him as well. I thought Raphinha was nice. I was like, yo, this guy's going to come to La Liga and do some damage. But he hasn't been able to. So Liverpool are looking at 2 Barca rejects to replace one of their best ever players? And Mo Salah? Are you kidding me? Now, I do think Liverpool have a good enough attack to where if they bring in the right profile of player, if Mo Salah leaves, they will still score goals. I like Liverpool's attack. Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo, Diego Jota. I really like Dominic Szoboszlai. Good players. Luis Diaz as well. So they have players there to pick up the slack, but they're not going to have that go-to talisman like what they do with Salah once he leaves. It's going to be hard to replace him regardless, because unless you're going to go out there and sign Mbappe, which a lot of y'all thought Liverpool would possibly get, but not anymore with Klopp leaving, that dream is over. So there's nobody else to really replace Mo Salah. But if you're telling me Ansu Fati and Raphinha, that's the 2 names that you're looking at, yeah, bro. If I'm Liverpool, if I'm a fan, we're going to riot. There's just no way that makes any sense. But yeah, we'll see. Let me know. I don't know if they're talking about they want both of these guys, like Fatu and Raphinha, or if it's one or the other. But let me know who you would take as a Liverpool fan. Now, the last story of the day that I do want to talk about is Aaron Ramsdale. Now, this is Arsenal's number 2 goalkeeper. And if we're being honest, I don't really understand why he even became the number 2, because I think he was doing a pretty good job as Arsenal's number 1. Now, we know that Arteta over the summer, he brought in David Raya and kind of just forgot about Ramsdale. I mean, everybody was gassing this guy up to be one of the best goalkeepers in the Prem, and then he gets replaced the season after for no apparent reason. Now, I remember when Arsenal signed David Raya, I was like, yo, this is a signing that does not make any sense. This is more of a luxury signing than a necessity, because goalkeeper was not a priority for Arsenal. So that's why I didn't really understand why they did this. And now, yeah, you're seeing issues. I mean, obviously, Ramsdale is a player that feels like he should be starting. I remember his dad came out and did some kind of podcast trying to get sympathy for his son, saying, oh, yeah, Ramsdale, it's bothering him that he's sitting on the bench and that he's sad. And it's just like a whole big drama situation at that position at Arsenal, because now every time David Raya makes a mistake, the camera goes right to Aaron Ramsdale and vice versa. So I always knew this was going to be an issue. Arsenal were a team that needed other things. They did not need a goalkeeper. I do not understand why you even, and I get it. David Raya's deal was a loan. They only have to pay what, like two something million, and I believe they also have an option to make the loan permanent at the end of the season. But it was unnecessary. Arsenal needed more things. Ramsdale was not the problem. Now, I do believe that David Raya is slightly better than Aaron Ramsdale, but not that much to where I'm like, yeah, I understand why they made the deal. Now, obviously, Raya is better with the ball at his feet, and he fits Arteta's system a bit more playing out the back. I understand that. But with you dropping Ramsdale, a player that everybody believed, or a lot of Arsenal fans were gassing up to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world, of course, people are going to have speculations on his future. Now, there are reports from Football London saying that Arteta plans on keeping Aaron Ramsdale. So, I don't know if that makes sense. The only way that I stay, if I'm Ramsdale, is if you're not going to activate that buy option for David Raya. Because I think Ramsdale's a guy that believes he should be England's number one. He should be starting at the Euros. But guess what? It's not going to happen because he's been benched. So, we'll have to see what happens. But I definitely think in the summer, Ramsdale is out of there, depending on what they do with David Raya. And I think a lot of clubs will be in for him. I saw reports before about Chelsea. They want to see what was up with Aaron Ramsdale. But I don't think it makes sense for him to stay. Like, why would Ramsdale want to stay at Arsenal and be the number 2 to David Raya when he was already the number 1 and he didn't really do anything wrong to get replaced? It didn't really make any sense. So we'll see what happens. But no, I don't think that Aaron Ramsdale will be an Arsenal player starting next season. I think that he will be at another club. Now, if I'm Arsenal, I'm not selling him to any Big Six rival, especially not Chelsea. That wouldn't make any sense. Like, why would you sell Aaron Ramsdale to your crosstown rivals? But this is Arsenal, though. Look. Chelsea seemed to buy all of Arsenal's good players, and Arsenal seemed to buy all of Chelsea's old or shit players. So maybe he will be Chelsea's number 1 next season, but I think that would be a mistake. I'm either selling him overseas or to like one of these mid-table clubs. Actually, no, I wouldn't sell Aaron Ramsdale to none of these clubs in England, if I'm being honest. Yeah, no, you got to go overseas, bro. And I think Bayern Munich were linked to him as well. Yeah, maybe Bayern might want you. We know that they're trying to do a whole English thing now, but they got Harry Kane. They signed Eric Dyer. Why not go bring in Aaron Ramsdale? Give Harry Kane some new friends to make him feel more comfortable. But yeah, no way. If Arsenal so if Arsenal extend, or if they use their buy option on David Raya, no way Aaron Ramsdale is an Arsenal player next season. I cannot see it happening. But yo, shout out to you guys. Make sure, wrong one. Shout out to you guys. Make sure to smash that like button if you watched. Make sure to get in the comment section. Look, Football Carnage. This is where I'm going to be posting all of my soccer/football content. I know my opening was a bit wacky because I'm still used to only talking on Will Talk Sports, but I'm no longer going to be posting any videos about football/soccer on Will Talk Sports. I'm going to only use that for American football and NBA. This channel is strictly for footy, okay? Because I've realized a lot of you guys don't care about American sports, and a lot of the American audience don't care about this sport. So it didn't really make sense to have all of that in one spot. That's what I was trying to say when I first opened up this damn video. But shout out to you guys. Definitely, as I said, make sure to smash that like button. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to turn on post notifications, guys. I'm going to be dropping videos like crazy, watch-alongs, everything. It's going to be lit here. So hope to see you guys. And yeah, I'm out. Peace. Yeah.